It's Caden Cochran and Kenny Cochran side by side. Green flag will fly at the cone. Green flag's in the air, and here we go. Cochran leads him down to the turns 1 and 2. Around goes the 42. We got one facing backwards in turns 1 and 2. That's going to bring out the caution. Green flag's in the air, and here we go. Caden Cochran leads him down to turns 1 and 2. Once again, brings the 29. Now here comes Zach Forster going 3 wide down off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Zach Forster with a power move down on the bottom side. It's going to be Caden Cochran out front. Zach Forster, the number 2 spot. Then you'll pick up the 29 of Roy Maynard Jr. Green flags in the air. We're underway once again with the Mod Light A main event. Zach Forster backing it in hard into turns 1 and 2. Oh, the motor expires for the 4C of Cade Lewis. You could hear it coming down the front straightaway, losing power for the 4C of Cade Lewis. That's going to bring out caution number 4. Cochran's going to come around to lead lap number 3. Cochran and Forster side by side in the 3 and 4. Can Forster take a peek underneath? He's taking a look coming off of turn number 4. Can't quite get it done that time by. He is all over the backside of Caden Cochran. Caden Cochran, Zach Forster, 1 and 2. Cochran goes a little high coming off of 2. Down the back straight he goes. It's Caden Cochran. Zach Forster, 1 and 2 at the stripe. J.D. Brown in the number 3 spot. Roy Maynard Jr. in the number 4. Then you'll pick up the 48 of Kenny Cochran. But up front, that's the battle for the lead. Zach Forster to the quarter panel once again of Caden Cochran. But Caden Cochran's able to get the speed coming off the corner and hold him off going into turns 1 and 2. We got 6 down. Make it side by side again for the lead down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Zach Forster, Caden Cochran. Caden Cochran able to hold off Zach on the attack. Forster right now. Zach is on the attack. Caution in turns 1 and 2. We got one around. The 21P once again. Cochran. Zach Forster all over the left rear of the 23K. Can't quite get underneath them. We got a battle on our hands. Here comes Zach Forster. Good run. They're side by side, door to door that time into turns 3 and 4. No contact made. That is good, clean racing up front. Caden Cochran and Zach Forster back and forth. Can Forster find a way to get around the 23K? Zach Forster now trying the high side over in turns 3 and 4. He's got an RPM run down the back straight, and it's going to get it done that time by. So Zach Forster taking the lead on lap number 11, making a high side hustler move on the outside of turns 3 and 4. He found something up there, and man, now he's stretching his legs. Coming to the stripe. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Zach Forster. Caden Cochran in the number 2 spot. J.D. Brown and Roy Maynard Jr. rounding out that top 4.
And coming to green. Green flag is out. Eric Greco gets a jump going into turn 1 as Bruce Douglas gets underneath Paul Muir. Eric Greco launching away down the back straightaway as Bruce Douglas tries to chase him down going into turn 3. Jeff Dyer and Hunter Kinney battling for third going into turn 1, and Dyer gets sideways in front of the field. The 2J of James Turnbull made contact, but no big damage there. Dyer lost it going into turn 3 while racing with Hunter Kinney. Green flag is out. Eric Greco balks on the start as the 31 of Douglas goes to make a move around the outside. Can't make it work. Greco back out front, and here comes Dakota Albright around the outside of Kinney to take over second. Kinney in third, the 2J of Turnbull in fourth, Bruce Douglas in fifth in the 31, and the 88D of Trevor Ballou on the outside trying to make his moves around the 31 of Douglas, and he does. Trevor Ballou up to fifth. Out front, Eric Greco stretching it out as the 35 JR of Dakota Albright takes over second. Out front, Eric Greco again pulling away as the 2500 Guinea gives chase. Back in the pack for 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's the 25 of Scott Kinney, the 36 of Bosnowski, and the 88D of Ballou fighting with the 31 of Bruce Douglas. Out front again, Eric Greco sailing it up high going into turn 3 with no competition right now as the 25 of Hunter Kinney nearly 2.5 seconds behind. And on the gas, here they come. Green flag is out. James Turnbull makes a slide job going into turn 1. Put Turnbull on the point. Eric Greco trying to answer back. Not going to happen going into turn 3. And your new leader is James Turnbull. Eric Greco now, he has to fight off the 35 of Dakota Albright on the outside, trying to hold him off. Albright, slider going into 4, not going to happen. Out front, James Turnbull getting away from the field, 13 laps down. The next lap car in line is the 42, as Eric Greco's slider going into turn 1 takes the lead back from the 2 of Turnbull. But going down the back straightaway, it's finally happened here at Bakersfield Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, the 8G Eric Greco Jr. James Turnbull pulls a second, the 35 of Dakota Albright. All right, cool.
Green flag is in the air, and here we go with the energy drink. American stock A main event. They're side by side all the way down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. We got a right rear down on Tristan Hook's car. Waters up on the high side of turns 1 and 2. Steve Johnson down on the bottom side. Josh Yaden side by side with Johnson down the back straightaway. It's Waters. Johnson a little bit sideways down on the bottom side of turns 3 and 4. A little bit of contact with the 88K of Yaden. Right in front of Cody Sly. Cody Sly going top shelf in turns 1 and 2. Here comes Steve Johnson now getting a run on Waters as they go in the bottom side of turns 3 and 4. A little bit of contact from the 01 and the 88K. They're side by side at the stripe. You call it. It's Waters and Johnson. Now here comes Josh Yaden. They're looking at 3 wide down the back straightaway for the lead. Steve Johnson, he's going to lead him down into turns 3 and 4. He's going to bring the 88K of Yaden with him. Now they're side by side for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Throw a blanket over your top 5. Still has about just under a straightaway back to Brandon Ratcliffe in the number 3. The 88K of Josh Yaden. The best battle is for that 4th position between Clay Waters and Cody Sly. Waters now all over the quarter panel of Josh Yaden. They're side by side down to the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Yaden jumps the cushion in 3 and 4. Around goes Clay Waters. So now Waters up into the number 3 spot. Brandon Radcliffe looks like he is done. Caution comes out for Brandon Radcliffe as he was exiting the track on the infield. Flags in the air, and here we go. Steve Johnson, great restart coming down into turns 1 and 2. It's Johnson, Waters, and Yaden. Here comes Mason Conway on the inside of Cody Sly. Can't quite get the RPM down the back straightaway. Now they're nose to tail for the lead going into turns 1 and 2. Clay Waters all over the backside of Steve Johnson. Little bump and run. Can't quite get it done. Clay Waters deep into turns 1 and 2 on the inside of Steve Johnson. They are drag racing down the back straightaway. Johnson and Waters side by side in the 3 and 4. Good, clean racing up front between your leaders, Clay Waters and Steve Johnson. Waters, Johnson side by side once again in 3 and 4. 3 laps remaining. Waters has a nose on him coming down the back straightaway. He's going to lead him down into turns 3 and 4. We're going to have a new leader coming off of turn number 4. Here comes the crossover now from Steve Johnson. But it's going to be Josh Yaden with 2 laps remaining. Yaden, Johnson, or that's Waters and Johnson A little bit of contact coming off of turn number 2 between your leaders. Now we got 3 cars coming 2, 3, and 4. Throw a blanket over your top 3. It's a 3-car battle with a white flag in the air one more time around. Who's it going to be? Steve Johnson, Clay Waters, Josh Yaden. Johnson backs it into turns 1 and 2. Gets a good run off of 2. Down the back straightaway he goes. Steve Johnson, one more corner as he comes off of turn number 4. He's going to pick up the win on night number 1 for the American South. Steve Johnson picks up the win over Josh Yaden and Clay Waters right at the stripe. Nosing out Cody Sly. Green flags in the air. We're underway with our final A main of the night. The H&S Bodyworks Hobby Stocks A main event. Jimmy Irwin down to the bottom side coming off of turn number 2. They're 3 wide down the back straightaway going into turns 3 and 4. Irwin gets a big push in 3 and 4. But he's going to lead lap number 1. Jimmy Irwin once again gets a big push over there in turns 1 and 2. Now he's got Dylan Wilson down to his inside in the 80D. Irwin pitches him off going down into turns 3 and 4. He floats up off of turn number 4. Green flags in the air, and here we go. Jimmy Johnson leads him down. Jimmy Irwin leads him down into turns 1 and 2. Irwin gets it figured out that time. It's Irwin, Wilson. 3 wide down the front straightaway for the number 3 position. It's going to be Kevin Irwin. Jimmy Irwin, Kevin Irwin now side by side with Dylan Wilson once again down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Oh, smoke out of the 2 of Kevin Irwin. That's going to bring out the caution. Kevin Irwin, something letting loose. You can see the steam coming out of the 2 of Kevin Irwin. It's Bodyworks A main event. Jimmy Irwin, great restart down into turns 1 and 2. Stretching the field by 3 cars going into turns 3 and 4. Wilson a little high off of turn number 4 now. Here comes Ricky Childress Jr. down to the inside of the 24. Down there in turns 1 and 2. Childress and Johnson battling back and forth. They're side by side down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Turns number 2 going down into turns 3 and 4. Early entry for the 2X of Jimmy Irwin. Now here comes Dylan Wilson. They're side by side at the stripe. We're halfway there. 12 laps down, 13 laps remaining. Now Dylan Wilson. We've got one around off of turn 4 right in front of your leaders. We stay green. Now crossover move from Jimmy Irwin. He's getting stuck behind the lap car. Oh, Jimmy Irwin's getting pinched off going into turns 1 and 2. Now here comes Ricky Childress Jr. into the number 2 spot. Straightaway. Ricky Childress all over the backside. Now they're side by side coming off of turn number 4. Ricky Childress just hanging on by a hair coming off of turn number 4. Ricky Childress trying to find a way to run down the 80D right now. Dylan Wilson, he's out front and trying to run away. Here comes Ricky. Great entry into turns 3 and 4. Now he's all over the backside. Gets a good run down the front straightaway. Ricky Childress gets a good run. They're side by side down the back straightaway. Look at Ricky Childress go into turns 3 and 4. Crossover move from Dylan Wilson. Now they're side by side at the stripe. Side by side down the back straightaway once again for the lead. Oh, here comes a slider from Dylan Wilson. Dylan Wilson gets stymied by the 35 coming off of turn number 4. He goes high in turns 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. He goes no contest from the 80D of Dylan Wilson. Now coming to the stripe, ladies and gentlemen, your winner for the H&S Bodyworks Hobby Stocks. It's going to be Outlaw Ricky Childress Jr. Dylan Wilson finishing the number 2 spot. Johnny go to the front wood in the number 3 spot. Tyler Johnson and Marcus Wonkum rounding out that top 5.